My poem by Gwendolyn Brooks is titled "The Crazy Woman," and immediately from the title, you think that this poem is about a woman who is psychotic, who is could possibly be schizophrenic or even have some kind of psychological issues. However, she goes on to say, "I shall not sing a May song. A May song should be gay," and by that, she doesn't mean homosexual. She means that gay as in happy and joyous. Yes, and that in May, May is usually May is right before the spring. As a matter of fact, May is only a month before her birthday on June 7th, and that means that she isn't in a very happy mood right now. So she's refusing to sing a song in May because she's not happy and she will not be forced to sing a May song. She then goes on to say, "I'll wait till November and sing a song of Gray," because in November, that is the fall, that's when things start to settle down, nights get longer, people start to stay more indoors, and the mood is generally more colder. She then goes on to say, "I'll wait until November, that is the time for me." Well, what she's also going on to reference is that that's the time for her because of the fact that she's not in the very best of moods. So for 6 months, for 6 or 7 months, she's been in a very bad mood. So could she possibly be at the time suffering from depression because of the fact that she, Gwendolyn Brooks, lived in a time of extreme racial tension and racial hatred and prejudices?
Oh, most definitely. There were protests and riots happening all over the place.
And she's from the south side of Chicago, and even though it's in the more northern states, racism was happening all around the whole United States, no matter where you were at. And she then further goes on and says, "I'll go out in the frosty dark and sing most terribly." Well, it's not really the fact that she can't sing, it's that the fact that what she has to say isn't the best thing to be said because of the fact that um, she's not in a very good mood. She won't be in a very good mood.
I find that interesting how she described the dark, or she described that she would go out to sing in the frosty dark. So with that adjective frosty and that noun dark, or the object of the preposition dark, that's kind of interesting. How she used that to describe something that or something that was like not really good for her. She didn't really want to talk about that. How she talked about it in like those conditions. Frosty means it's like really cold out, and then dark it's like it could be nighttime. So it's like those two that has really negative connotation. Those two words have
Right.
negative connotation.
Also, it could be frosty, could also mean you're with the old simile or metaphor, as a matter of fact, cold hearted, because she could be angry because of the racial tensions that are going on in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And she could be feeling cold, and she could be have a very bad light towards others that are doing bad for her and her family. She then goes on to say, "And all the little people will stare at me and say, 'That is the crazy woman who would not sing in May.'" When she does that, that is a negative connotation when she begins with "and all the little people." Gwendolyn Brooks was not a very large person. She was a more petite woman, and saying "all the little people," this could be a feeling of grandiose, or as well as a feeling of still being feeling like you're better than everyone else, but at the same time, they're staring at her and saying, "That is the crazy woman who would not sing in May." Well, they're referring to her in third person, so they're not only saying it to her, but they're also saying it behind her. And by calling her crazy, she doesn't think she's crazy, but she is known as crazy because of the stereotype for some women at the time, because women had also a very certain role where they would do as they were told,
Yeah.
and that
They
was
had
the
that,
stereotype.
yeah, I have a stereotype of being like a household role, and they couldn't be like involved in a whole lot of stuff.
Right.
One thing I find interesting with the poem is it's titled "The Crazy Woman," but Gwendolyn Brooks structures this poem, so much. It's extremely structured with three stanzas and then four lines each.
Right.
and then she has end rhyme in the second and fourth line of every stanza.
Right.
So I find that interesting because, like, for the poem that I did, Riot by Gwendolyn Brooks, um, it was not structured at all. It wasn't in a formal structure at all. But this one, is very structured, and I think I find that kind of ironic how she's talking about a crazy woman,
Right.
but then she uses a whole lot of structure throughout the poem. So what do you think about that?
I think that you're completely right in that. That goes into the idea that she doesn't think she's crazy. Um, she's just not in the best of moods. We've all been through that when we're just not having our best year, or our best day, or our best mood. It's just we all have our times, but because of the fact that she's an African American woman, and she's not doing as she's told, or she's not doing what is expected of her. That is the connotation, and that is what people are labeling her as, such as a crazy woman.
Yeah, and I mean, like, she's also trying to say, like, I'm not crazy by just giving that, like, subtle message because she's like, the poem structure, so you're saying, like, I'm not crazy, so I can still do these things.
As well as the last line, that is the crazy woman who would not see May, is quoted. So she's not saying she's crazy. She's saying that everyone else is calling her crazy.
Yeah.
She doesn't once mention and reference herself as crazy. It's always someone else who's calling her crazy. She does not throughout, and the whole poem throughout the whole thing uses I and owl in personal pronouns, but it does not mention her as being crazy. The only time that crazy and her are in the same reference is that is the crazy woman